The housing market has come a long way in the last year. We're all very happy to see most local markets bouncing back after the housing recession. Still, there are concerns about the future, and we've received thousands of questions over the last couple of days via social media. Today we'll pose some of these questions, your questions, to the President.
And I was wondering how you feel rising interest rates over the last 3 months are going to affect the housing recovery going forward.
Given that interest rates tick up a little bit as the economy improves, it is especially important for Congress to act on the proposal that we put forward, which says, let's not just let a few people refinance, let's allow everybody who is potentially eligible to go ahead and refinance. It can end up being the equivalent of a $3,000 tax cut, basically.
To keep the long-term perspective, mortgage rates have ticked up about a point, but we're still in the low fours, which, if you take the long view, is still an incredibly low rate.
Well,
for a mortgage.
Not to get too personal, but our home back in Chicago, not the White House, which, as I said, that's a rental. Our home back in Chicago, you know, my mortgage interest rate, I would probably benefit from refinancing right now. I would save some money.
HARP is the government program which lets homeowners who are underwater on their home refinance their mortgage as long as they're not more than 20% underwater and as long as their loans are backed by Fannie and Freddie. About 10% of the questions submitted today were about HARP. So Colin writes to us. He says, what's happening with my refi or HARP 3? Is there any hope of such a program?
Congress, I think all of us recognize, has been a little broken lately. But the good news is that there are Republican and Democratic senators, at least, who have been in a conversation about how do we learn the lessons of the past and start building a firmer foundation for housing going forward. This is something that I'm going to push again once Congress gets back in September, once they're back in session, as part of a broader package of housing reform. Let's see if we can potentially even get this done before the end of the year.
I'm a recent college graduate with a full-time job, but I still live at home with my parents. I'm wondering, with massive student loan debt, will I ever be able to move into a house of my own? Not even looking to buy, just looking to rent.
That is not something that people should shy away from, deciding that at this stage in their lives, Jacob looked like a pretty young guy, that renting is probably the best option. Until you know that you can actually purchase safely, soundly, and make your payments. You know, Zillow is focused on housing and not college education, but I will say that some of the initiatives that I'm putting forward to drive down the cost of college and the debt burdens that young people have when they get out of school can make a huge difference in the housing market over the long term, because you know, the $30,000 or $25,000 on average that young people from state universities are coming out with in terms of debt. Yeah, you know, that's a down payment on a house.
30% of our questions actually touch on themes that Elias asks about. Let's watch his video.
Mr. President, what help is available for homeowners who are looking to refinance but don't have their loan backed by Freddie or Fannie?
That's the HARP 3 program. Our 3 program. Everybody who's on Zillow, there's no reason why you shouldn't contact your congressman and say, why aren't we doing this? This should be a no-brainer.